This video is the first of a video tutorial series on writing beginner Autolisp code. You don't need any programming experience with Autolisp or other codes to be able to follow this series. You should, however, know most of your AutoCAD fundamentals. If you have previous programming experience, you might want to skip ahead to later tutorials. My goal for this series is to teach viewers with little or no programming experience how to write a working Autolisp program that you actually use on a regular basis. We'll be creating a command that makes a viewport, and also places that viewport on a specific layer without changing the user's active layer. This is nothing groundbreaking, but it provides a small improvement in workflow. Plus, with all the new skills that you learn, you'll be able to code similar but even better functions that improve your workflow even more. So let's get started. So to get to your Visual Lisp editor, you can click your Manage tab and click this Visual Lisp editor button right here. But instead, I'm just going to type VLIDE at the command prompt. Start a new file if you don't have one open already. So just a quick intro to this Visual Lisp editor. I'm not going to teach you what all these buttons do. I'm only going to teach you what you need to know to get through this first tutorial. And keep in mind, this editor, it's not a modern code editor. The good thing about Autolisp is you don't have to compile it before you run the code. So it makes testing out your code a lot easier. For example, C#, you'd actually have to compile it. Python, I believe there's some editors where you can run the code before you can compile it. The trade-off, of course, is you don't have all the features you'd have in say, Microsoft Visual Studio. So a lot of the code, bug testing and stuff, it's all done very manually. But anyway, so I've typed in a function called defun, and this is the function that will define a function. Then I've typed a C semicolon, and next we'll type our command. I'm going to type viewport here. So if I have this C semicolon, whatever I type after it will be what we type at the command prompt to run our command. In this case it's viewport, but I'm actually going to change this just to VP. Whenever you run enter the defun command into your code, you need to put 2 brackets here. And eventually you'll need to also add a divide symbol. I don't explain this in this tutorial, I will in future tutorials, however. And of course you can always go to Autodesk's online help pages, and they'll explain every function in much more detail than I can in a short tutorial. So the next function I'm going to show you is one called command. And all command does is it basically runs AutoCAD's command prompt. So anything we type in the command prompt while we're in AutoCAD, we would just type it in brackets here. So for example, mview. You'll notice that whenever I make a new bracket, you might have seen that, the cursor briefly appears up here. If you double click on a bracket, for example this end bracket, it finds its leading bracket, and vice versa. So when you get into more complicated code, that's how you check if your little brackets close. There has to be an even number of left and right brackets, or beginning and end brackets. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is how to load this into your AutoCAD file from the Visual Lisp editor. So to load it into our active drawing, all you do is click this button right here. Okay, we'll go back into our AutoCAD file. Let's type VP and see if our function worked. It says command not allowed in model tab. So let's go into layout then. And let's type VP. Perfect, so the command worked. Okay, so let's go back into our Visual Lisp editor. So to wrap this lesson up, I'm going to show you one more thing in the Visual Lisp editor. I'm going to delete this bracket, and a couple icons over from that one I showed you how to load your code, there's this check mark here. That's how you check your code. This build output window, if it's not already open, will come up. And it'll come up with an error message. This will vary depending on the type of error, but it says error malformed list on input. A malformed list means the list doesn't close, or I'm missing a closing bracket. So we'll check that again, and sure enough it works. Okay, so that's all I want to cover in Lesson 1, but Lesson 2 will be coming up right after. Thanks a lot for watching.